So I'm Drew Bailey. I am a graduate student in the College of Communication. Specifically, my focus is in interpersonal communication. In the program, it's usually a lot of media studies, so I'm kind of the black sheep of the group, but it's been really fun. And I'm originally from Burley, Idaho. A lot of what I do is dealing with relationships. My research is focused on suicide communication, which when people hear that, there's that really tight, uncomfortable feeling, which of course it's very personal, it's very in-depth, and a lot of times you don't have the best experiences with it. Now, I chose this because, of course, mental health is always been such a huge thing for me. It's very important to a lot of people, really, and luckily it's starting to be talked about more and more. But when it comes to suicide, that is something that's still very taboo. It's very uncomfortable to talk about for some people, rightfully so. I was always been interested in it just for personal back experiences, but learning more and more about the communication process of suicide is kind of what drives me to see what we can do to help make those conversations more comfortable, of course. So my specific research, where I went as far as my thesis goes, I wanted to address the biggest way I can make an impact now. And at the beginning, I wanted to focus on people who would talk about suicide struggles they had. But as you can imagine, trying to get a study, finding those people to open up, it was really hard. So I instead tried to focus on people who were told to, they were disclosed to about suicide feelings. So for example, I could go to a friend of mine and tell them I'm having thoughts, feelings, or intentions of suicide. What does that person do with that information, right? A lot of us, most people would have no clue what to do. And that's truly the case in what I found in a lot of my research. So as I went about trying to find people to interview that had been in these situations, I was trying to find, common things that led to the most positive situations. And of course, again, I'm all about relationships. So not only do we want to help the person struggling, but we also want to save and improve the relationship overall between those people. Key findings from my research is there is no perfect answer to how to address or how to handle a suicide-related disclosure. But there are some common themes that we found to, best put people in success to have positive outcomes. Now, a positive outcome can be, of course, saving the person's life, but also having a positive relationship. Because a lot of times, as you can imagine, having something so personal and so surrounded in conflict or dire situations, it can sometimes not end well, which we found. But some 5 things that helped were emotional support, especially reactions. So when someone tells me that they're struggling, how do I react to it? Do I react with empathy? Do I thank them for telling me? Conversation management, so being able to listen and to showcase basic conversation cues, following up and providing follow-up support, so the conversation doesn't end and it's over. You're following up, staying in tune with them, continuing the conversation. Sometimes, this wasn't always the case, but sometimes it was good to bring in additional support. It's a lot to carry on someone hearing these types of things. And overall, the main goal of this was to understand boundaries. When someone shares this thing, what is good to say, but also how much should you say to someone else, especially when someone who shares this, they want to keep it private. How do you manage that private information? So being able to talk about boundaries and working together, that collaboration has been huge, and that's something that can be continued to research on in the future. So what's next is I've always had a passion for teaching and of course research, and after doing my thesis and doing this recent research project, it just opened a whole variety of different research topics and things I can focus on when it comes to suicide communication. So goal is to go on, do my PhD, be able to continue this research, and end goal is to end up at a university that can help me really broaden that search of research and helping those who may be struggling with this or helping those who want to help others in these situations. So get a PhD, teach as well, and then continue the research. Any type of advice or insight I can give, my situation was unique. So I did my associates and my bachelor's at different universities, And I'm again from Idaho, so coming to Wisconsin was a bit of a trip, you know, and especially I'm married, I have a child, so making that decision was hard. And we had a variety of places we were looking at. What I fell in love with about Marquette and just the overall experience is, number one, everyone says culture, but I'll be a little more specific. I think of opportunity and the people who enable you to capitalize on those opportunities. Again, for me in my program, it was a little bit different. I'm an interpersonal scholar. A lot of the other students are media or anything in that realm. But Marquette, my advisors, my committee, and even the students I worked with, they empowered me to focus on what I'm passionate about. And I found that it was as if they made everything specific to me and personal for me. And it wasn't just that way in Marquette. It was just like Wisconsin and Milwaukee in general. I just feel like people are very genuine, and many people are just seeking for your best interests and are able to support you. So I recognize that within the first couple of visits here, and it's just we fell in love with it, and it's just grown more and more. So I would love to end up back here after the PhD. I think that would be a dream come true.